Good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum. Happy Thursday to everybody. We'll give it a minute here for everybody to pop on, and then I've got a funny story to share. So, hope everybody's off to a good start today. Let's take some nice deep breaths just to ground ourselves to Mother Earth and be present. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Miss O'Neill. Glad you are here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, good morning. We'll see how many pop on this morning. In through the nose, out through the mouth. See if you can make the next one a little bit deeper. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And again, if you find yourself getting a little lightheaded with the deep breaths, all the more important that you practice your deep breathing, because typically you're probably not. And there are many of us who wander around the earth plane breathing very shallowly, little chest breaths, the anxiety breath, right? So we want practice with the energetic breathing of really truly being at peace and connected and moving forward in faith and trust. Good morning, Beth. Welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. I'm headed to the Yoop today. So those of you who are Yoopers, I'll be in your neck of the woods for the weekend for my little sabbatical that I'm so looking forward to. I don't think the weather's going to be all that cooperative. The day I head back, that's when it's going to get reasonable. What else is new? Good morning, Abigail. Welcome. But I kind of view that as a cue. They've got a little labyrinth where I'm going. So view it as a cue that maybe I walk the labyrinth a few times, but maybe I'm not out and about a bunch. Maybe what needs to be transpiring happens within. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I have to tell you funny. I finished up a different book the night before last. So last night I was just kind of looking through what I had. Thank you. What I have sitting on my stacks of books that are right by the bed. And one of them that I've read before caught my attention. I thought, well, why not? And I had a marker in it because I had started rereading it, but I didn't continue. So I thought I'll just jump in where I was and go from there. And as I'm reading it, I thought, ooh, this would be a great thing to read as the information to ponder while I'm gone. And again, while I'm gone, I may or may not be doing any lives. And if I don't show up on a particular day, feel free to go to my YouTube channel and pick out one of the previous ones and watch that again. Whatever you pick, know that there'll be something there for you. It's about life bringing to us what we need. Good morning, Mel. It comes to us in divine right timing and divine right order, and we are so happy and grateful to receive it. Are we not? We are. So this is a book I read many years ago, and I know I've shared some of it. This has to be years ago, because I've been doing YEMIGs for well over 10 years. So my thought process was, good morning, Carol, and welcome. Glad you're here. Oh, this information is even more relevant now in these interesting and difficult times than it was when I read it to begin with. And it has an energy to it now that it probably didn't have back when I read it the first time, because the time is nigh. The time is nigh. So then I'm getting all wound around my axle with, oh, how are people going to receive this? And how can I present this in a way that makes it most likely someone can pick something up from it and utilize it? And how are people going to perceive this and all this stuff? And then I straightened my jacket and thought to myself, okay, it's just my job to bring the message forth. This man brought the message forth. I'm now bringing the message forth. Good morning, Nancy. Your other message popped up in that weird area where, yeah. And then everybody goes, oh, never mind. I just think that's funny. But the message then gets brought forth in a way that we can consume it. So I'm, working my way through this, and then I go to, and I realize I have my jacket on inside out. Inside out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're taking yourself way too seriously. Let this go. Just put it out there. People will do with it what they're going to do with it. Again, it's like being the flight attendant, and you're walking down the aisle and you're going, coffee, tea, soda, and someone says no. You don't run to the galley and cry. You move on to the next person. Coffee, tea, soda, right? So that's what we're doing. I'm going to offer you coffee, tea, soda today, and you get to decide what you want, if anything. So the book, and if you haven't read it, this is an amazing book, and it's about a 15-year-old book. And the languaging, there's a couple of things I noticed. It's a channeled text, and one of the things that I noticed across all of those who channel text is they repeat. And I kind of smirk about that, because obviously they're looking at humanity going, these people aren't getting it. We gotta keep putting this out there until they finally pick up what we're putting down. Okay? So it is I Am the Word by Paul Selig. And if you're not familiar with him, he's very interesting. And the group he channels like to poke at him, like, Paul's getting in the way now. He's got a bunch of questions. Step aside, Paul. You're just the vehicle. But it's a guide to the consciousness of man's self in a transitioning time. Does that not sound relevant right now? Right? And he's using man in the global sense of humanity. One of the things I will say as I'm reading this is change up the words however you need to change up the words. If the God language doesn't resonate for you, put in universe, all that is, spirit, creator, whatever works for you, But I'll read it as they delivered it and as Paul translated it. So what we're going to be reading is chapter 1, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to stop. I'm going to trust the guidance, because I was trying to figure out what's the stopping point here. Where do I leave them with something to chew on? So I don't know yet. We'll find out as we go. So a nice deep breath in and out, open to receiving whatever's here that moves you forward on your particular trajectory. So this was actually channeled February 28th of 2009. Notice how prescient it is. Here we are in 2025. Oh yeah, 2009. It's even longer than 15 years. So let's talk about things as they are. By what they are, we mean what things are today in the current state of your consciousness. There are things in your life that you wish were gone. There are problems that you've created which dismantle the ideals that you would like to live by. Isn't that interesting? That stewardship, that ownership. We're the ones who've created it. We're the ones who dismantle it. We're the ones who come up with something new, right? How we do that, I believe, makes a difference. But nonetheless, here's what's going on. There are feelings that you contend with that make you feel terrible. All of this is the state that you walk around in. And we want to rectify this today. Doesn't that sound good, right? And the way to do that is to first understand that anything you experience, you choose. You choose it in two different ways. You choose it on a level of consciousness that means you intend to get something, or you choose it through your unconscious behavior and belief systems, which means it always happens to me and I don't know why. So that's not the part where we're necessarily making conscious choices. It's what our subconscious creates out of the beliefs that we have. Now, both of these things are operating concurrently. So you always have a combination of things going on. Your life as you intend it, and your life as you undermine it through your unconscious patternings. Oof. And the two things fight all the time. I want a lover. Why don't I have a lover? I want more money. I can't seem to keep more money. I want a friend, but I don't have a friend. You can ask all these questions and we will give you the same answer anytime. That when you have a pattern that sabotages your own life's intentions, you have unconscious patterning that needs to be cleared. Now, this is one level of understanding, and we will say that this is number one. Number two is quite different, and it actually has to do with consciousness on a larger level, on a global level, on a level of matrix. Yep. So again, things that are being crashed and burned right now, we're destroying some of the matrix. We're trying to create new matrix. Some of that matrix that's being created is probably not in our highest and best good. Some of it is. Discernment. You all are in agreement about many things. You all are in agreement that pigs can't fly. And that's appropriate. Pigs can't fly. However, you are also in agreement about things that don't withstand the laws of gravity. And these are things like, I'm not allowed to know myself as a divine being. Only the priest can give me the release of my sins. Only the Father in heaven can solve this problem. This is not for me to solve. These are 3 examples of ways that you hold larger patterns of thinking, and we will give you many more. We will say to you this, and the languaging here is like a little old school because it's channeled stuff. The belief that civilization has been here for so many thousands of years is a collective belief on this planet. It is a collective belief because the evidence you have found to date supports it. So we believe what we believe based on what we've discovered thus far. Each time we discover more, our beliefs change. Remember that old thing about, hey, the world's flat. Can't sail too far, you fall off the edge. How long did humanity believe that? Until evidence to the contrary was presented, and then it even took time for people to get on board. So there's evidence right now being presented that we're capable of far more than we believe we are, but it's going to take some time for everybody to get on board. So you go into agreement with it, and that becomes your reality. If you believe that there is only one dimension of experience that you can access, let's just say 3D perhaps, and that is the belief you share, guess what, everybody? That becomes your experience. If you believe that you can shift and move between dimensions, and that becomes a reality in a way that can be proven and experienced, everybody suddenly will say, oh yes, we can move between dimensions. But in order to get to that place of consciousness, the matrix of belief, the system of belief that has withheld consciousness, must be contended with directly. So that's what we're tackling right now. We're looking at the consciousness, the collective consciousness, and what we have believed is possible, and breaking up old patterns and now looking at what is possible. And sometimes this isn't a lovely, clean, beautiful process. Sometimes it's a hot mess, okay? So the problem is this. You say you want the spiritual growth. You say you want the alignment with the Christ, but the ceiling keeps hitting you in the head each time you try to go higher. And the ceiling is the belief systems that you have held, that others have held, that you hold as a community and as a people about what can be possible. So we ask you this, what would happen if there was no ceiling? What would your response be? There has to be a ceiling. I have to know what the limits are. I have to know what the rules are in order to play the game. Get it? Get it? We create our own limitations, and then we live to them. Well, there is a ceiling. There is always a ceiling, but the ceiling changes as you align with it and go higher. As you outgrow your clothing, you don't expect that clothing to fit you. You expect to acquire new clothing. Ding! Well, you have to acquire the ceiling that gets higher and higher and higher as you ascend in frequency. So you're moving the ceiling up as you move up. When you ascend in frequency, your vibration lifts. As your vibration lifts, the requirements for your growth transform themselves, and then you are presented with new opportunities to align to the next level of consciousness. And so it goes up and up. And so that's why I say to people when I'm working with clients, and I was working with someone yesterday and this was kind of an issue, the same rules don't keep applying unless you are so wedded to those rules you can't let them go. Then your growth is limited. You've chosen to limit your growth by hanging on to those old rules. And Nancy, your name just rolled again, so something in here for you. When we're willing to release our death grip on those rules that aren't immutable, they're changeable, they're modifiable. What would happen if I mess with this rule? And kids are great at that. What would happen if we walked on the ceiling and the floor was actually above us? What would happen if we could sit on the clouds? They mess with that stuff all the time. We need to be messing with that stuff more. Let's see here. You do not grow from infancy into adulthood overnight, nor do you grow into your Christed self, the self that knows the truth about your own divinity in fullness in one quick reading of a book. So I have a friend who, when she first read this book years ago, blew her mind. She was struggling to find her path in life, and this book was very helpful in terms of helping her take the girdle off her brain. And her book is so time-worn and threadbare from all of her pagings through it that, yeah. What we will tell you now may surprise you. The beginning of this is the hard part. The understanding that you are the Christ and that it can be made manifest is the key. Once the key is in the lock, the door is open and you are on the run, because the energetic configurations that are required to bring this into form can be brought to you with your intention to acquire it. If you say to somebody, I only want a big house with a big lawn, the realtor is not going to show you studio apartments. So what are you thinking you're going to see? Because that's what you're setting yourself up to see. And just that. All the rest of it's all there. But you've got your lenses dialed to, this is what I expect to see. The realtor is going to say, this is what you requested, I will bring it to you. If you say to the universe, I want to manifest myself as my own divine being, as my Christed self, as my higher self embodied, however you want to decree it, you have to understand that you set in motion a process. And once this process is begun, this process continues. You may pause, you may break, you may wander away, and you may wander back. But the evolution of your soul cannot stop itself from forward motion, and your soul already knows that this is the key to your growth. So we will say to you this. Once the key is in the lock, and you have said, yes, I am on this journey, your own soul will manifest itself and the opportunities you require to bring this growth into achievement. And it will present itself to you one day at a time, one moment at a time, one lesson at a time, one experience at a time. You get the drift. Now, the manifestation of the Christ is not a little thing. It's not like you get a new hairdo. It's not like as if you change your clothes and walk around in a robe and make people feel better. That is not the point at all. To be the Christ simply means to be yourself in full realization of your power as a piece of God in action. So again, it's all whole, it's all one. We're the ones that perceive separation. So now there's the quote from the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. This is the decree. You are Word. You are an aspect of God, universe, all that is, creator, however you want to look at it, brought forth into light. As you journey, as you access this information, you become Christed in consciousness. And there are those people where you can just feel, right? You can feel the energy of them, that they got something that the rest of us are not quite to yet, right? Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, some of the popes, some of them. They just have that ascended feeling to them, right? When you become Christed in consciousness, you ascend. When you ascend, your vibrational frequency elevates and aligns in new patterns that cannot hold the old. And the old falls away as you rise. So I believe many of us are in the process right now of unfettering ourselves from this old thinking, belief system, patterns, etc., that cannot go with us as we elevate. It's a different jet stream that we're moving into, and therefore the landscape changes. It requires different ways of being. How it feels to see the world, how it feels to see the self from a higher vibration is markedly different from what you can imagine. Because you understand your role as an aspect of the Creator, you move forward rapidly to bring to you the mandates of your soul's choice. When you are in your soul's choice, you achieve that which is required for your soul's achievement. It cannot go any other way. So think about this. You can't screw it up. You can't screw it up. You're just setting the intention to move forward, to up-level, to cast off what no longer serves you. We've been working on this for how long? As long as I've been talking to y'all, right? And longer, and longer. So we say to you that the process that you are choosing has consequences, and the consequences will make themselves known. And they will also be your pride, your fear, your loathing of the self and the body, releasing in ways that will become apparent. Because these are the low frequencies that must disband, that must release, that must go away for good. If you are to light the balloon, the sandbags that keep you tethered are those things of lower frequency that cannot go for the ride. Now you have an investment in these things that control you. They keep you safe, they keep you dormant, they keep you in the illusion of separation. How can there be a God that loves me if I feel such pain? How can I be in a war with my fellow man and still be in God? How can I know myself as good when I secretly believe that I am bad, or I am failed, or I'm unloved by man? These creations, self-loathing, fear, war, are all creations that must be cleaned from the self as the self ascends. How this process happens will become part of this book. In subsequent chapters, we will address in detail how one goes from taking out the laundry, as it were, and how one goes about releasing the past in a way that will liberate the present. And I think that's where I'm going to stop. So, ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting? Again, humanity has been working on this stuff since the dawn of time. Since the dawn of time. It gets articulated in different ways. And over time, how one particular person says it may resonate with you better than how someone else says it. How Paul says it in this book is a very stylized way of saying it. It's going to resonate for some of you and it's not going to resonate for others. That's okay. But pay attention. Who are the ones who are speaking those words? We're in a time of change. This is an up-leveling that you can actually hear. Listen to them. Listen within. That's a huge one. Listen within. That message within is so important. Again, good morning, Mary. Thank you for the coffee. You have everything you need within you to make this transition from lower vibrational energy that no longer serves you to a higher vibrational energy that lifts you up. You have everything you need within you. Go looking for it. Have an awesome day. We'll maybe see you over the course of the weekend. I'm not sure. If nothing else, certainly on Monday morning, I will be back. So see you again. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.